Now, the list of movies that I want to see this year have now been reduced to one. I don't know the movie came out like today. It was called the movie came out yesterday. No, not Mulan. The other movie that came out, the everybody wants to see, Tenet. That's the only other movie I want to see. But guess what? Black Widow is going to be about the song. It's the song the Times Up, which is another woke Twitter movement, and the Me Too movement, which is basically a Twitter movement to cancel people they don't like, basically, because we all know that's what Me Too is essentially is now. Basically, another cancel culture movement, which fits nicely with Kevin Feige's calls to Phase 4. I think in particular is affected what's going on with the Times Up movement and V2 movement Johnson filmed in the Empire magazine. It would be such a mess that we didn't address the stuff that the film didn't take head on. I think particularly for Kate, it's so important to make a movie about women helping other women. Of course, that makes sense because they are friends or related, I think, who lift other women out of very difficult situations. If Natasha was a feminist, of course he is. That is a kind of the same question because, of course, every woman in Hollywood has to be a feminist. If you're not a feminist, according to on Hollywood, basically, yeah, you're disobeying Twitter. You're disobeying Twitter. Of course, the most important audience to Hollywood, of course, the only audience they care about is Twitter. Two new images have released via Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow and as Serena Belova, see below. And Black Widow is still on track for November 6, 2020 release date, and the new trailer to be released soon. As 7 appearances saying a decade of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that's the synopsis of the movie. But yes, that means Black Widow, yes, is a woke movie because of course everything is about wokeness, okay? You know, it's always Disney movies that are, like, but no, it's just Hollywood in general, okay? Do you remember there was a movie last year called Ad Astra? Well, I think the reason why that movie flopped because they will make it, because Ad Astra was just a movie about a guy going into space, doing stuff into space, another one of those types of movies. Well, Disney and the guy who made the movie and the actor wouldn't talk about how the movie was about how men are bad. Of course, no one went to go see Ad Astra because of that. I think that's one of the reasons why people didn't go see Ad Astra. Because the creators of the movie couldn't shut their mouths about how Ad Astra was about how men were bad. Birds of Prey, they couldn't shut their mouths about how Birds of Prey was this great feminist movie. It really wasn't, but again, the directors and and especially Ewan McGregor wouldn't shut up, and guess what? Birds of Prey was a flop. Tony Dark Fate, same thing. They weren't shut up about how Tony Dark Fate's feminist messages, Tony Dark Fate flopped. Do we see a pattern here? It's like Hollywood doesn't understand this. Stop pandering towards Twitter and your movies will be successful. People would want to watch your movies if they weren't saying, oh my god, let's pander to Twitter every single day, every single second of the day. If we don't do what Twitter says, if we don't make our movies work for Twitter, who don't buy movies, by the way, who are not fans like the media says they are, okay, because they're not fans. They just want to ruin movies, so they can say, oh my god, we'll have these woke movies for us, because no one's gonna rewatch Dark Phoenix again. No one liked Dark Phoenix because guess what? They were boasting about how Dark Phoenix was a great feminist movie. That movie flopped. The only movie that was a feminist movie that did well over the past 2 years was Captain Marvel, and that is an outlier in itself because of Endgame's release. Because everybody want to know what role Captain Marvel played in Endgame. Not because they like the character, because they want to know her role in Endgame. They want to see anything to do with Endgame, that movie, in the plot of Captain Marvel, because of course Marvel was keeping the plots of Endgame mostly under wrap at that point, mostly until making all the movie a bunch of surprises. But yes, basically, yeah, that's Dell. Black Widow is now considered a woke movie, just like Wonder Woman 1984 is also a woke movie as well. Basing its villains off of Orange Man and making a movie about Orange Man bad. Okay? Basically about that. Okay? And yeah, that's basically it. Goodbye.